Hello, my lovely Alycats indie viewers. Today I will be talking about my top 5 favorite video game franchises of basically all time, or my 21 years of living. But I know mine are going to be completely different from yours, so let me know what your top 5 favorite gaming franchises are, either in the comments down below or as a video response. But I'm going to go on and just get this ball rolling because you're probably thinking, Alyssa, get the ball rolling. But these are in no particular order because I love each of these so much. So let's just begin. First up, the Metal Gear Solid franchise. The only one I have not played in this series is Metal Gear Solid 1, and I haven't played Peace Walker yet, which I need to get on that really quick. But I have played Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and 4, and I love these games. I love how graphically advanced they were for their era, especially 2 and 3, because they were PS2 games. And they just translated really well in the HD trilogy, and they look great. Even for that era, they look phenomenal. And I even loved Metal Gear Solid 2, which a lot of people didn't like because, you only played as Snake at the very beginning of the game, and the rest of the game you were Raiden. But I loved it still. I loved it. I didn't think Raiden was that bad. And I know, naked cartwheels, but I love the sense of humor in these games. I love the fish and mailed part of Metal Gear Solid 2. If you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 2, please play it because it's awesome. There's some awesome bosses in that game. And Metal Gear Solid 3, oh my gosh, that climb up the ladder that took over 5 minutes. And it plays the entire Snake Eater song, and then it still goes on after the song finishes. Oh my gosh, that ladder climb has got to be the best ladder climb in any game ever. I just started that trend. Best ladder climb in a game ever. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. And I also really love the boss battles, and if you've played Metal Gear Solid 3, you know how frustrating the end boss battle is, which is not actually the end. It's basically like the middle of the game, which is confusing, I know. But he's called the end, and he's like this professional sniper. He could die any day, but he's still at the top of his sniping game. So this boss battle takes you well over an hour to finish because he's just super tough. You have to snipe him. But he's got super hearing, he can see you, he camouflages himself, so you have to be super quiet, you have to use heat vision and your motion detector, and it's just difficult. I wanted to throw my controller so many times, but when I finally beat this boss, I was just like, hallelujah! And I just had such a sense of accomplishment. And Metal Gear Solid 4, loved it. A lot of people hate these games because of the really long cutscenes, which I do admit they're long, but I love the cutscenes because they really flesh out the story. There's a lot of humor in them. And Metal Gear Solid 4 particularly, I can't say particularly today, had really great cutscenes, especially the ending cutscene where it's 90 minutes, but it's just phenomenal. It really helps to tie up the story. There's still a few loose threads, but it's great. Each of them are great, and I really need to play Peace Walker. I'm super excited for Metal Gear Solid 5, but I am a little worried because Kojima did say that cutscenes were less important in this game. They're not going to be as long. It's an open world, so you're not going to have it's not going to be as humorous. But, I'll wait until the game comes out and I'll judge it then. And I'm really excited about it though, and if you haven't played the Metal Gear Solid franchise and you have a PS3 or Xbox 360, you can play the HD trilogy, but if you have a 360, you can't play Metal Gear Solid 4. But anyway, moving on to the next franchise, the Tales of series. The Tales of series is a wonderful JRPG franchise, and it's actually the first JRPG franchise I started, besides Pokemon, if you count that, which some people don't. But I'll start off with Tales of Vesperia, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And these games, they seem really complex when you first start playing or when you hear about them because, you have to, plan out what arts you want to use, what combos you need to do, what food you need to eat. And they're so lengthy. Easily 50 hours tops, I would say, or more. It just depends on which game you're playing. But they have such memorable characters, such humorous dialogue, such epic cutscenes. I just love it so much. And yes, there's some grinding in in all of these games, but the grinding is so much fun. I love the grinding in these games because the enemy design is so varied and it's so distinct, and I just love it. I love it so much, and I love the free flowing action. Like, you can just freely move around the battlefield. It's not turn based, and each game is its own separate entity. So if you want to play Tales of Grace's F first, you can play that, or if you want to play Tales of Cecilia first, you can play that. It doesn't matter because they each have their own standalone stories. And I just love that about the series. And I can't wait for Tales of Symphonia Chronicles, which is coming out super soon, Tales of Xillia 2, and Tales of Vesperia whenever it's coming out. But it should be epic. Moving on to another great franchise, Tomb Raider. Of course, you know I love this series, but I have to just gush about it. I just have to, because Tomb Raider was what got me started with gaming. I played the first game when I was 5 years old with my uncle. And before multiplayer was even introduced, we would pass the controller back and forth on the first Tomb Raider and play. So like if one of us was stuck on a boss battle, the other would probably end up beating the boss. And yes, I had skills when I was 5. Booyah. But in all honesty though, I love this franchise. I looked up to Lara Croft because she was just a perfect like female, protagonist in gaming. I mean, she was someone to look up to. I mean, when I was little, I didn't really care about how big her boobs were. A lot of guys did, but you know what? I didn't care about her boobs. I loved that she was just a kick-ass, badass female that, was on her own and could defend herself. I loved that. And that's one of the most important parts of this game, is that she's just so independent, and she shows women that they can be independent as well. And I loved each of the games in the franchise, which I know some of them are weaker. Like Angel of Darkness, yeah, that was probably the worst game in the series, but it wasn't bad in my opinion, okay? I actually enjoyed it. Even though it was the worst in the series, I kind of enjoyed it. But the newest reboot, though, oh my gosh. Crystal Dynamics, I bow down to you. I love you. Thank you for doing justice to this wonderful character and making her seem human, because I will admit in the previous games she kind of seemed untouchable, like she wasn't human. Maybe she was a vampire, I don't know. But in the newest franchise though, she seemed human. You saw her anguish and her pain when she was injured, when her friends were lost, and she was just beautiful. They made her look more realistic in this new game, and I love that. And I can't wait for the sequel that they have announced that is coming out sometime, and I just can't wait to see what else is in store for Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider franchise. I could go on and on until Friday about this game, but you know what, I'm just going to move on to my next franchise, which is Uncharted. And yes, a lot of people say Uncharted is a Tomb Raider ripoff, which I'm sure they got inspiration from Tomb Raider, because it is, you find treasures, you're going around the world, but it's just a totally different story and different characters and all that. I love Nathan Drake. He's the hottest video game character ever. Sorry for my little outburst there. But I love Nathan Drake. I love all the characters in the games, basically. I love Sully. I love Elena. I love Chloe. I love the Jason Statham ripoff guy, the Helen Mirren ripoff villain, no, Catherine, that's her name in the game. She does look like Helen Mirren though. And I just love the Uncharted franchise because it's so bombastic. It feels like you're watching like a summer popcorn action movie kind of thing. It's very cinematic. Each of the games are cinematic, and they all have epic stories, and you get to just do awesome things. The puzzles are a tad easy. They're not like Tomb Raider's puzzles where you could be stuck for hours. Uncharted's are pretty simple. And yes, the gunplay is a little weak in the Uncharted series, but you know what? The story totally makes those kind of not as important as they should be. But anyway, if you have a PS3 and you have not played the Uncharted series yet, get on that. The first one is the weakest one in the series, the second is the best, and the third is the second best. It just can live up to 2, but they're still great. They're still fun. You're going to have a lot of fun with these games, and you're going to love the characters. Trust me on this, okay? Trust me. It's like one of the best action-adventure franchises out there. And the last of my favorite franchises in gaming is Mass Effect. I love the Mass Effect games because each game carries over to the next game. And I love that you can customize your own Shepard, which I was femship, of course, because, you know, I gotta represent the ladies, because I am a lady. Woo. I don't know what that was. But I loved it, because I love the morality system, even though it was totally easy to see if you wanted to be Paragon or Renegade. I was always Paragon, because I can't be bad in games, I just can't. But I loved it. I loved how you could see how the scars on Shepard's face would either fade or become more prominent depending on your morality choices. I love that you could romance someone, even though I romanced Caden because I just couldn't do it with an alien. I'm sorry. And I just love the storyline and how, especially 2. Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Probably my favorite, actually. Just because the suicide mission, how you're trying to go around to each planet and save as many people as you can in the Normandy, and how, you know, you're so connected to each of your crewmates. I even love 3, and the ending didn't bother me in 3, okay? I know a lot of people bitched about it, but you know what? I liked it. And that was BioWare's vision, and so many people bitched to complain about it that, you know, they had to, BioWare put out free DLC to help explain the endings, which I don't think they should have done, just because they already had basically, you know, created their vision of what they wanted Mass Effect 3 to end. And I just don't think anyone should have to revise their ending after, even if, you know, a small group of fans has a hissy fit. I'm sorry if you hated the ending, but I loved it. But going back to the series, I just love that it's sci-fi, the 3 games all connect together, and you could just build relationships with characters, or you could destroy relationships with characters. And you could doom people to die. And your choices matter. That's what I love so much about the Mass Effect series. So those are my top 5 gaming franchises of all time. Favorite. I don't know why I forgot to put favorite in there. But like I said before, comment down below or leave a video response about your top 5 favorite gaming franchises. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to become an Alycat because we're awesome. And I try to make epic videos of epic geekiness. Favorites so your friends and family can see. And feel free to share me as long as you do it nicely. I love each and every one of you so much. Go play a game. Have fun. Peace and kisses.